city of Cleveland lived NBA Finals history a year ago. It could very well happen again, but with a huge twist as in being the footnote for an unprecedented run. The Cavs are being swept into the vortex of time, space, and energy that is the Golden State Warriors and their frontrunner for Finals MVP. Kevin Durant had his greatest postseason moment in Game 3, and now he tries to complete the dream. And with that, we welcome you to downtown Cleveland, just outside the Q. This is Game Time at the Finals on the eve of Game 4, which could close the book on things. Vince Cellini alongside Dennis Scott and Brent Berry. And I think, Dennis, both teams learned a lot about each other in that Game 3, don't you?
No, they really did. And you like what LeBron James tried to do early in the ball game, get J.R. Smith going a few shots, and Kyrie kind of was waiting his turn. But as you were doing that, you saw the Golden State Warriors still stick what they do best. Player movement, ball movement, solid defense. And as the game wore on, Brent, the pace and tempo fell into their place.
Hey, think about the build-up for Game 3, Vince, right? Cleveland coming back home. They had only lost one game in this year's playoff run. And the Golden State Warriors finding themselves in unfamiliar territory. A game late and a game close. But they executed down the stretch and ended up getting a win on the shoulders of one Kevin Durant, who came up huge.
Well, we are seeing the Warriors methodically approaching perfection, and they are now just a step away from living it. Our David Aldridge has been covering the Warriors throughout these finals, and he has more from Golden State.
Vince, the Warriors finally have acknowledged what we all suspected, which is that 16-0 does mean something to them. As the first team in NBA history to have a chance to go through the playoffs undefeated, Golden State knows that victory in Game 4 on Friday will not just be a championship. It will register them as one of the greatest teams who've ever played. Draymond Green told me on Thursday that it will also be a tribute to their team's growth and focus. If you remember, the Warriors were always viewed as a very talented team that could occasionally play crazy basketball, what Steve Kerr always calls plays of insanity, the no-look passes, the one-handed throws, all of those things that would allow them to blow leads as quickly as they got them. But Green said, if we win 16 straight playoff games, that means we were really locked in. And so Game 4 will be a Warriors team that's not only looking to win a championship, but to cement themselves as a team that really has matured. Back to you.
David, thank you. History with a 3-0 lead in the NBA Finals since 1984. All finished the job, save for the 96 Bulls, to whom this Warrior team is often compared. A possible second championship in 3 years, and what an answer this would be to last year's 3-1 lead. Kevin Durant was asked if this is what he envisioned almost a year ago when signing with Golden State.
I didn't envision anything but just being around good people and getting better every single day. And you know, that's exactly what happened throughout the season. You know, I didn't talk to these guys when I made my decision and say we better make it to the finals and be up in the series around this time, this exact date, or I'm not coming. I mean, it was just, let's just have some fun playing ball. Let's just all get better and see what happens.
I don't know how big a football fan you are, but round numbers, they tend to stick in people's minds. You got, the Miami Dolphins are the only undefeated team in the NFL. They went to win the Super Bowl, etc. Would it be at least a bonus for this group to have something like that beside their championship, an undefeated season?
Not something I'm thinking about or any of us are thinking about. It's just win. Let's go win. Then we can, savor a championship however we want. But you guys can talk about it and write about it. I am a big football fan, by the way. And I always love when Mercury Morris celebrates when the other team that's undefeated finally loses. That's one of my favorite moments of the NFL season.
Came up once last night, but I think the only reason it came up is just because we want to win this next game, and we win that, it's 16-0. So it definitely wasn't one of those things where it's a goal like, hey, let's go in this playoffs and go 16-0. That's too much on the mind. But now that it's a legit possibility, one game away, I think you should think about it at this point because you want to win the next game.
You know, as a team and organization, Golden State works the problem. Injuries and illness to their coach. They come up with a huge rally in Game 3 to set the stage for this perfection. And really, guys, it came down to that final 3-minute capsule of Golden State determination. So we're going to turn it over to you guys now and break down exactly what you saw.
Yeah, you think about the combination of things that happened for the Golden State Warriors, things that they have tremendous confidence in, playing offense, especially after getting stops, and how it was that Cleveland ended up executing 3D, quite frankly, in the last few plays of the game. After this J.R. Smith 3, we're looking at a 6-point bulge for the Cleveland Cavaliers with just over 3 to go.
Yes, you talk about leadership, Vince. No panic, no rush. You know you have to get some stops. So watch how all 5 guys are locked in. All guys are moving. All guys are playing one accord. And now we talk about transition. Now you're out and running. If you're not stopping the ball first, one-on-one transition defense, Vince, you got to stop the ball. If not, Steph Curry gets an easy layup.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that in this show. As you see, Steph got all the way to the rim, and then the Cavs go back to LeBron, and maybe a shot where he settles a little bit on Andre Iguodala, not putting a ton of pressure on Golden State. And then a key play here, Dennis, where they get the switch.
You get the switch, not coming off the screen, Kevin Durant. He waits. Now he doesn't hesitate. Not selling for the 3. Get to the sweet spot, a little bump to create space, a big-time shot going down the stretch.
And then we come back for Cleveland's next possession. They find Kyle Korver in the corner. Steph late to the closeout. It's a shot Kyle's going to be thinking about for a long time, and Golden State comes right back. 3D, Kevin Durant in transition.
He's been doing all his life, Vince. He saw LeBron James on his heels, takes his time, and steps right into it.
Biggest head scratcher probably of the game was Kyrie waves off the screen. 3D could have got a 2-for-1. There was 45 seconds to go when they started this possession, and then Kyrie, who had been great in attack mode all game long, settles for the long 3. He misses that. 0-for-7 for the game, and then the sealer was the great swipe by Andre Iguodala with the Golden State Warriors up 2 there, sealing it again with defense. So 2 minutes and 11 seconds to go. Golden State with an 11-0 run, Vince. Did it on both ends of the floor. Stops to scores, confidence, and like we mentioned, they had not been in that situation in quite some time. Came through with flying colors.
Yeah, and Steph Curry said after the game there was a feeling of calmness as their team embraces these types of situations because there is a trust and so many guys are going to contribute. But if you look at that fourth quarter, clearly Durant was the guy who stood out. He had 14 of his 31 in the fourth quarter, Dennis, and took advantage of some big opportunities.
You called it, Vince. The opportunity was there, not rushing anything, and really attacking the defense. When a 3-point shot was there, he took it. Driving to the basket, seeing a smaller guy there on there. Defensively getting rebounds. But obviously that big 3 over LeBron James is going to be talked about a lot. But Brent, I think his patience, waiting, and not being a volume shooter, an efficient shooter, that's what we did in that fourth quarter.
I'm always astounded when I go deep into the numbers with regards to these games, right? It's fascinating. Kevin Durant had the ball for 3 minutes and 17 seconds of that game 3. It felt like he had it the whole game,
right.
But he barely touches it, and then it barely touches the net. He's so efficient with his scoring, and then stepping up in a huge moment, 3D, that walk-up 3, drilling that shot, and seeing some emotion from Kevin Durant. That does not happen all that often. The Warriors right now are smelling it.
Yep, 31 fourth-quarter points for Kevin Durant. He has effectively raised his game and raised the level of this team. And we also want to talk about the lineup that was on the floor late for Golden State. It's the Hamptons lineup, which
I love that.
It's now become the new lineup of death, which is perhaps now a lineup of life for the Warriors. Last year, a trusted weapon. This year, you add Durant, and it's now officially incredible.
No question about it. You go back to game 2 when Draymond got in foul trouble. Steve Kerr looks to his bench. Oh, Kevin Durant, can you go back to the ball game, please? So now when you run the 5-4 pick and roll, Durant switches, and all the switching the Golden State Warriors do on defensive end, now you have more confidence because you have a 7-foot guy that's bought in and he's blocking shots.
And I think that the scariest part about it is not just that defensively there might be a couple of things that they're able to cover a little bit more. It's the completeness of when these 5 guys are on the floor together, what they can do defensively, and then how that leads to direct and lethal offense. That's what makes the Hamptons lineup so devastating.
We haven't gotten to Steph Curry yet. We haven't dived into it. Yeah, he is averaging close to that. He may not be the Finals MVP, but he's doing a little bit of everything out there. And I love his approach, Bones, with his tenacity and grit.
It sounds weird to talk about Steph Curry playing with force, but it's exactly what he did, 3D, in Game 3 when he just kept the pace going for Golden State. A lot of it, not because he was dribbling with the ball or creating some kind of shot and havoc from the three-point line. It was just getting down and dirty on the rebounding, being in great position as the Cavs chucked up 44 three-point shots. That allows a lot of long rebounds. Steph was moon rebounding, pushing the ball with pace, and just played a remarkable game. And our biggest thing was what? Just that one turnover. That was big.
We're in Game 2. He got a little fancy with it.
How many?
Cleaned up in Game 3. Just one.
Just one. We are going to break game time at the finals, but there is much more ahead here in Cleveland. The Cavs dealt a devastating blow in Game 3. How can they recover and possibly put a dent in the Warriors' postseason? We'll have much more on the other side.